Hello again, I'm Stephen Hawkins, reading from my autobiography, A Gift from the Stars, where you can find at www.agiftfromthestars.com. This particular chapter is called Intuition, and How to Use It, Seeking Inner Stillness. This lay at the core of my teachings with Pat, the star man, a man with no real name, a man who never been to school and never celebrated a birthday, but who possessed perception second to none, and an incredible intuitive faculty. Over the years he taught me how to acquire. This chapter gives you some insight as to that process. Inevitably, the day arrived when I asked Pat, how do I get to sense things like you do? We had convened in my room. As usual, I sat in my easy chair, and across the room Pat sat on the couch. He always looked the same. A beret covered his baldness, and his Buddha belly-like frame was attired in baggy pants, short-sleeved sweater, and a crinkled work shirt. He sat leaning on an armrest with his legs outstretched, and his socked feet crossed at the ankles. He wore sandals all the time, even in winter. You have to find that place in the sun where you have complete stillness and feel perfectly balanced and content within yourself, he said. You have to seek peace and harmony with the world. That won't come easy, especially while you're young and you have so much restless energy to burn. Your mind is like a butterfly fluttering all over the place. You can't stay still for long without getting fidgety and wanting to do something. I'm telling you that if you could truly learn how to let go of the world, then not only in the world but the entire universe would come to you. There were times when Pat sounded like a medium delivering a message from on high. He had a knack of inspiring me to follow his lead. His words carried conviction. I already saw myself buzzing around in the stars, but if I thought the process of seeking my inner stillness would come easily to me, I was sorely mistaken. To start with, you have to find a way to stop the din going on inside your head. Because if you are noisy on the inside, then you'll be noisy on the outside. Being noisy on the inside of your head deafens you to the noise you're making outside your head. Do you understand? No. Give me an example. Pat nodded. Okay, let me consider animals in the forest, he said. As they get about their business, how often do you hear them? Animals tread lightly. They are sensitive creatures, even scientists will admit. They can hear and see things we don't. And that's because they're always aware of their surroundings. You have to learn to be like them and be completely conscious of what's around you at all times. You have to live in the present moment, no other time. As I pondered my own decibel count, when doing the dishes and the times I accidentally bumped into people, I feared he overheard my thoughts. When you see thousands of birds swooping up and down, do you see them banging into each other, he said. They always know where they're going because they use their intuitive radar. And that's what you need to do. Not just so you can be more careful of what you're doing and be more mindful of what or who's around you, but it's so you can sense and hear messages being sent through the atmosphere. Like radar? Yes, the same radar that people use all the time for earthly purposes. How do you mean? Have you looked at someone who's not looking at you? It doesn't matter how far away they are or whether they've got their back to you. Have you noticed how often they will turn and look back at you? Yes, I've noticed that. Many times. I thought mainly of the women who had sensed me looking at them. Must have picked up on my radar, I thought. As Pat began speaking about the nature of thoughts and images, his direct gaze demanded my full attention. Your spirit needs to become lighter, he said. You have to shed the weight that exists inside your soul. You know, your eyes are like a camera lens. You're constantly taking pictures of the world you live in. And the negative develops inside your head. It's what happens after they go into your mind that the problems start. The pictures are like a long roll of celluloid that wraps around and around inside the memory. Then in dreams, those pictures become a playground for your unconscious mind to party in. If you wrap each picture in the energy of your own want, then you cloud the mirror of your soul until you can't see out. You have to learn how to discern Observe what you see and hear, rather than allow yourself to become like an absorbent sponge, squeezing muddy waters of thought into your well of life. For a while I listened intently, but as Pat droned on, I felt myself drifting into the twilight zone of consciousness. He sounded distant to me. Take care in everything you do, he said. Don't dwell on objects that prompt negative thoughts and images, because not one seed of ill thought or action can exist inside the soul. I mean objects like knives, forks and broken glass, anything that has points and sharp edges. You must beware of the negative energy that exists in tools that can also be associated with use as a weapon. What lies in the hands of the holder can breed harmful thoughts. You must never allow those thoughts to fester and grow within your mind. You must always remain the master of your will to think correctly, and so nurture the beauty and fire of your soul. People will say the devil doesn't exist. Even if they are right, then the devil is what we make it. And it will possess our thoughts to commit evil acts if we allow such negative energy to burn within inside us. Are you listening? Where did that come from? My eyes shot open. I blinked away the sleepy film and looked attentive. You need to start practicing when to think and when not to think, I heard him say. You have to become the master of your mind and stop your thoughts running out of control, and that means at all times of the day. You can't afford to fall asleep. I'm doing my best, I said, but it's not easy to grasp what you're saying. Pat grinned. Yes, I gather that. The flesh is willing, but the spirit is weak. I sighed in his mocking tone. No, Pat, it's the other way round. He laughed. Oh, not the way I see it. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to reading another passage in the near future. Here from the stars.